Well, good morning. David Kern here with the CBS AM Debrief, Thursday the 8th of September. And what a turnaround. Just as we were, I think, all thinking that things could get a lot worse from here, we've seen the German High Court decision come through, allowing the funding process there to go ahead, or the Germans are allowed to continue to offer that funding up to the less able states in Europe, and so that's seen a lot of relief come through, because the failure to see that go ahead would have resulted in a lot more turmoil in the EU region there. So that's helped things greatly. The other thing, of course, is that Obama has announced a $300 billion job stimulus package, and that's helped to see the Dow move up 275 points. So it's its first session in 4 that we've seen an up movement. On the back of that, oil's moved up quite strongly because of that expected stimulus, we imagine. And another interesting thing was the Swiss franc being pegged to the euro, and they certainly don't seem to be mucking around or beating around the bush on that one. They made it very clear that central bankers there that they'll do whatever it takes to prevent that Swiss franc strength from basically crippling their industries. So really interesting move there. Okay, let's have a look at exactly what those numbers were. As mentioned, Dow up 2.47%, S&P 500 up 2.86, a little bit more, and Nasdaq up just over 3. The rest of the Americas pretty much in line to varying degrees. And then Europe, all green numbers here, with Milan probably posting the biggest gain of all, 4.24, and the DAX 4.07. They had a pretty big sell-off there earlier in the week. Moving on down, of course, we put in one of our best closes for quite some time, up 107 points, or 2.65%. Nikkei up 2, and the Hang Seng up 1.71. Looking now to what our futures are suggesting for us, probably putting in a gain around, probably a bit under half of yesterday's, 44. Hang Seng up 280, and the Nikkei up 60. Okay, and to our commodity space now. West Texas up $3.32, so just under 90, which is sort of up at the top edge of our trading range, as we see it, to be between $80 and $90. So interesting one to watch, that one, to see if it does break any higher. Otherwise, we would, or I'd be thinking that could be looking to be a potential short there. Natural gas $3.94, still not going anywhere. And then as for the rest of the softs, looks like a bit of a mixed bag. Cotton up 3.76. I know that Jono's been talking about cotton here quite a lot. Looks like that might be putting in some gains there. Lumber up pretty strongly as well. And I'm just going to move this out of the way there. Yes, rough rice up nearly 1%. Soybean oil up 1.09, and other substantial movers. Just looking here to the downside, looks like cocoa was under a little bit of pressure. Corn down just over 1, and wheat down 1.12. Okay, copper's had a pretty strong move here. Any sort of stimulus probably flowing through there, up 7.6%, or 1.87%. And then consequently de-risking, or the flight to perceived safety of gold seems to be reversing gear here. So big move down, $55 to $1,817. So that 1920 level does appear to be second time around a very solid level of resistance to the top side. Silver down just 0.23, sorry, 23 cents there. Moving on to look at the currencies. The euro buying 1.4096, the pound buying 1.5988, US dollar buying 77.2360 yen, the Aussie buying 1.0659 and the US buying 0.9836 Canadian, and a much different figure to what we've been used to in recent days, the US buying 0.8581 Swiss francs. We'll take a look now at the economic calendar. Yesterday we had the GDP numbers that came out, a little bit surprising there to the upside, and certainly looks like the RBA will have more reasons than not to be looking at interest rate rises there based on that growth there and the likelihood of inflation coming into the system. Okay, so for today, Thursday the 8th, we have some UK and Canadian data out. That should already be out actually. New Zealand manufacturing activity, some Japanese machine orders, and then we've got our employment numbers. We're expecting to add about 10,000 jobs, and for unemployment numbers to stay the same at 5.1%. Then some more Japanese data, Swiss unemployment, and then UK rates decision. Expectation is for that to stay at 0.5%, and we've also got the Euro rates decision expected to stay at 1.5. Trade balance out a little bit later on tonight, and then we go into Friday's data and through to the end of the week. Okay, let's take a look at the Falcon Trader here. I thought it was just interesting to note what happened to our local index yesterday. That was 11:30 when the GDP numbers came out. We actually got a little bit of a sell-off there initially, only about 20 odd points. But then I think once that information was digested, we started to grind higher, and ultimately ended up another 40 odd points higher to make that 100 plus point gain ultimately. Okay, I thought one of the interesting things that is worth looking at, given that Swiss franc exchange rate decision, is to look at CSL. Most of their pharmaceutical and serum production is done out of Switzerland, and that exchange rate, relief in exchange rate should help a lot, and looks like the market thought the same thing yesterday too. So we've got a fairly solid sort of touchdown on these 3 days here as a pretty solid base, I would have thought, or at least you could say, well, if it goes below that, I know I'm wrong, so that's where I want to have my stop loss. But otherwise I would expect to see some improvements here, and $30 to the upside I wouldn't have thought would be too unrealistic as a just something to pick up 10% in. Okay, let's just recap on a couple of the ones that I like to watch. Luca, which has been a little bit of a white knuckle ride here because it really didn't seem to know what way it wanted to go, and it's quite volatile, but put back into a sort of comfort zone here yesterday after bouncing off that $15 level. So hopefully it will start to grind higher here, and it's not into a sort of a pennant formation, but still reasonably comfortable with that trade. News Corp, I was talking about as a short last week, put in a pretty strong showing yesterday, so whether or not you take profit here, if you've got in short here, or continue to hold your stop loss just up here above this recent high, with the view that things are still going to get worse there, and it's useful to have a short in any sort of portfolio seemingly in this current volatile market. Take a quick look at one of the gold stocks I've been watching, which is St Barbara. Talked about that breakout there above the $2.05 level, and certainly been on quite a good run here. I would suggest that you'd probably be looking at wanting to get ready to think about taking some profit here, or maybe even look to hold on for another 10 cents or so. But that's a pretty good run there, good 10%. So I think in this market, take your profits where you can. It certainly helps to be pretty schizophrenic with your views. Just talking about that across the desk this morning. And I think that is pretty much it for me. So I'll wrap it up there and wish everyone a good trading day. And till next time, bye for now.